between now and Friday. So I'm gonna. It dims too much. Move is hope seating. So today we're gonna finish up this chapter. Then tomorrow's Thursday, I believe, and then Friday. So Thursday and Friday, I have a review packet for you guys for the test. We'll finish up, any last minute questions on the Monday after break. But I have such a hard time saying this because it goes against my philosophy. Sometime during break, make sure you refer back to the review so it's not completely gone. But again, it's hard for me to say, hey, over break, make sure you study because it's your break. But so, I'm not that guy who's going to say, hey, make sure you do these, all these problems, and because you have nothing better to do. Go ahead, just don't trip over the cord. All right, so let's take a look. Page 408. Make sure we did this. 408, number 27. Thoughts? How do I solve it? Yeah, do the shell, right? So 5 to the 4th power is equal to x. And then pretty sure on your calculator you can go 5 caret 4. So it's 5 times itself. Hey! Think we're little. This is
You missed the picture.
You missed the picture.
Yeah. We'll have to do another one. We have plenty. Although Lola won't take her picture again because she makes fun because I have a strap on my. 29. Thoughts? Right, you have to understand that if you have log sitting there without anything, it's really log base 10, so then you can do this. That becomes x to the negative 10 to the 4th. You can also say that's the same thing as 1 over 10 to the 4th. You can multiply 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So different ways you can go about that. So I think those are pretty easy. Let's see, 31 looks easy. Oh, wait. Let's actually look at 31. So, technically we've solved for x. It came to us solved, right? So I think they want us to try and figure out how to reduce the number down. So sometimes you might be able to do the shell with it, and it might give a little bit better clue of what the answer would be. 64 raised to the x is equal to 1/4. Now, I'm not going to do the shell again and put it back in log form because then we're just chasing a dog around the tree. But let's think about this. Could I figure out how to put 64 into base 4? 4 to what power would be 64? 8 to the 2nd, I know that. But 4 to what power gives me 64? 4 to the 3rd? Yeah. So this is the same thing as 4 to the 3x combined with the x. How can I put this to where it's not a fraction? 4 to what power? 4 to the negative 1. So now I have the exact same bases between the two, so I can set the exponents equal to each other. And then you'll find that x is equal to negative 1/3. Is that okay? 33. How do you undo natural log? E. How do you undo E? Natural log, okay. 35. Let's look at 35. How do you want to undo it? Can I snail it? I could. I could also make each side an exponent and go 2 raised to the one side and 2 raised to the other side. That way the 2 log base of 2 cancel out. So it's your choice how you want to do it. So you can snail it like this. So that's going to give me 2 to the 5th is equal to 10 plus 3x. 2 to the 5th, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Subtract. So x is equal to 22 over 3. I wanted to show you one other way to do this problem. So if I had, same thing, log base 2, 10 to the 3x. And the reason I want to show you this is sometimes this might be the easier method to do. So I have a base 2, so each side is going to become an exponent. That's going to cancel out, so that's going to give me 10 plus 3x is equal to 2 to the 5th, which is the same as this portion right here. So which way is the right way? Your choice. Sometimes one way is going to work a little better for you than the other, so just be aware of that, please. Let's see. Log base x plus log base x minus 9 equals 1. How? What math property do we have to do with the logs to bring them down to a single log? They are base 10, but how would I condense these? So log x times that. Is that right? That's what you said, I think. Okay? Remember, if log sits by itself, it's log base 10. I can do the snail method. So I'm going to get x minus 9 is equal to 10 to the first, which is 10. That's the same thing as x squared minus 9x. Move the 10 over, minus 10. What two numbers multiply together give me negative 10. Add to give me negative 9, be negative 10 and positive 1. Solve each. So x equals 10. X equals negative 1. Which answer won't work? The negative 1. I can't have a log of a negative. So this is an extraneous solution. That's my answer. All right. $39. How? There you go. So condense that. So it's going to be a division problem. I like it. It's division because it's subtraction equals this. Thoughts? There you go. Good. So this way, having both sides become an exponent, so 2 raised to this and 2 raised to this, those cancel each other out, leaving me x plus 20 over x plus 2. These cancel out, leaves me just x. Move the denominator over by multiplying it. So it's going to give me x plus 20 equals x squared plus 2x. So what two numbers multiply to give me negative 20, add to give me positive 1. Positive 5, negative 4. So I get x equals negative 5. X equals positive 4. Which one works? 4 works. Why does the negative 5 not work? It works here, right? That gives me 15. Doesn't work here, doesn't work here. So that's your extraneous solution, your other answer. How do you feel? These seem okay? Life is good? All right, if you feel you made an honest attempt of it, you got a top, middle, or bottom mark, pass it on in. So guys and girls, I want to remind you again. Yes, sir? Put a mark on top for me, please. If you do have a test or quiz that you owe me today, other than right after this class, I should be available. Yes, I just have to go see Miss Carruthers for a couple minutes, and then then I'll be back in my office. And if you don't find me in my office in the CT building around lunchtime, go to the office 100. I'm usually down there eating lunch, but I have no problem bringing my lunch back up and munching around you. But if you do owe me a test or quiz, let's get it done. Don't wait until after break. You all know if you wait till after break, that week before finals takes place is a fast-moving week, and all of a sudden you're backpedaling trying to catch up on stuff. So please take the opportunity. Come and see me. Don't be like that one kid in my med class going, it's too far to walk over there. This building is closer to that than we are to East, so just drive your car. So, all right. Does that make sense? We all good with that? I'll get these in the book. Also, all right, let's do this. So, let me teach you how to be a millionaire. Is that okay? Can we do it? Is that okay? Now, some of you are already like, hey, I'm a trust fund baby. I don't need any money. I'm fine. I get it. I grew up with Brian Shimp, whose father is one of the founding fathers of Motorola. So, he's a trust fund baby. So, here I'm working at Brian right now. What time is it in Arizona? It's about 8:30. He's probably over at Starbucks reading the Wall Street Journal, drinking coffee, telling people how to live life. Because he's trust fund baby. He never had to worry about money in his life. Yeah, a little different scenario. But let's go with the cheap scenario of this, using a raised to the bx power, okay? Now, all compound interest doesn't work on this. Yes, there's other factors that do take place. I get it. But let's do this. So, I have been told, and I know that some of you might roll your eyes at this, but I have lived by investing a certain way in a simple kind of fashion. Okay? Now, I know there are so many people out there going, hey, I have a friend that invested in this penny stock called Apple way back in the 80s. Now they're a trillionaire. I get it. But it also doesn't always happen. Right? I mean, there's companies, company's biggest goal in the world is to make money. Right? But I have been told, invest in mutual funds, and this is what I've always been brought up knowing. And basically what I did is I'm doing everything different than what my parents did as far as them saving, and I think I'm okay. I think I'm doing okay. So a mutual fund basically works like this if you don't know. A mutual fund is basically a certain amount of companies. So let's say you have these 9 companies that are all put together, and what you're doing is you are basically loaning your money to these companies to make money. Does that make sense? So you are being like a bank to these companies that can borrow from this money to make bigger and better things, to sell for profit, to make more money. And in return, they are going to give you a certain amount of money back in the form of either dividends, or they will allow you to reinvest your dividends back into it to buy more stock. You guys follow me on this? Now, I'm not talking about an individual stock. And yes, individual stock. So like this company right here, let's call this company A. I don't care what you're going to call it. Let's call it Exxon. If you invest directly in Exxon and Exxon does well, Exxon would pay you better directly if you invested in their company alone rather than the mutual fund. So what the mutual fund was is you basically have a group of people who are investors who have taken these companies all together and said, you're part of this mutual fund. So all of those companies all together are in the same business. We are going to make money. What they're going to do is they're going to say, all right, Well, let's say Exxon made 38% profit a year. Well, your mutual fund isn't going to show that 38% profit because that mutual fund is kind of supporting those other companies as well. So you might show like a 27% profit. Okay, so you're not getting the huge bang for your buck, but you're also looking at, I have 9 companies that I'm investing this money in as a part of a share, and you can buy a portion of a share all the way to a full share to multiple shares. When I say a portion of a share, if you look at your stock portfolio, if you're investing, it might say you have 1.263821 shares of a company or of a mutual fund, where this is just a portion of it. Okay? So what happens is this mutual fund of these 9 companies, let's say they make a certain amount of money, so they're going to pay out quarterly a certain amount of dividends. Now the dividends can either go back into themselves or they can be paid out to you directly. If they pay out dividends, then all of a sudden this becomes you own 127,34851 shares now. So now you are worth more and more, and this mutual fund is worth per share a certain amount of money, and it could be anywhere from in the cents, less than $1, all the way up to hundreds and even thousands of dollars per share. So when people say, oh, I have this many shares of a company, if they were to sell off that share, whatever that share is trading for that day, that's what they could sell it for, minus a small fee. Okay? Now, there's all kinds of companies out there that say, hey, let us do the investing. We're better than the next guy. Are they really? I'd say if you're investing with a company that's advertising on TV, that company is desperate to get your money, and they are going to pass on their advertising costs directly to their consumer, which means you're not going to necessarily make as much with that company. It takes a little research to do. But let's just say this. Let's go back to this, and let's say we are going to, by the time we are 25 years old, can you see this? It's not too far off for most of you. 7, 8 years, maybe 9 years, right? By the time you're 25 years old, do you think you could have $25,000 to invest? Is that far off? And I know some of you might have that in a bank account. I get it. But let's just say we want, by the time you're 25 years old, I want you to have that much money to invest. Okay? And this is a real cheap way of doing it. Obviously, you're not going to do a one-time look at money and invest one time and say, okay, we're good for the rest of our lives. But I just want to show you this. Many mutual funds will show anywhere from a 5 to a 10% growth rate pretty easily. And what I'm saying that is, over the span of time, your mutual fund is going to grow. It's going to have an exponential growth to it. And usually this growth, and let's say we have a pretty modest fund that's going to earn us 8%. That's what the growth, the past to the future, and our prospectus is showing we should get about an 8% growth. Okay? So 25 by the time you're 25 years of life, and most people are going to go till age 65. So how many years are we talking about? How many years are we talking about from 25 to 65? 40 years. So when you get to the age of 65, so we're talking about 40 years, I just want to see how this 25,000 had grown. Now some people will argue and say, what does he know he's not doing that right? Okay, if I look at the stock market day to day, going, what's it doing today? What about today? What about today? It's kind of like on your calculator, if you had a linear graph on your calculator, going, okay, what is it doing at, it's at 5, 6. Now it's at 7, 8. Now it's at 8, 9. You're talking about small increments, but if you look at the whole picture, you can see really what this would do. So, this is a growth. We're growing at 0.08. So my B factor right here is going to be 1 plus my growth. So 1 plus 0.08. So I'm going to plug in for B 1.08. I'm going to raise that to the 40th power because we're talking about years. And then I'm going to take that $25,000 and do this. So will somebody on their calculator go 1.08 caret 40, enter, times 25,000? 1.08 rate caret 40, enter, times 25,000. Should be 600,000 or 700,000, I believe. Maybe less. Say 1.08 raised to the 40th power, enter, times 25,000. 543,113. 13.03. Do I have that written right? Okay. Same? Agree? So a $25,000 investment into just a one-time thing, over $500,000 it's worth when you're 65. Good or bad? What's on your side right now as a 16 to 18-year-old person? Time. Okay? I will tell you there are so many people in America, unfortunately, that they're 55 years old going, you know what, I'm going to start saving for retirement now. And they can't get there. Why? Time was not on their side. But if you can start progressing through life where this is a one-time investment, by the time you're age 25, to invest $25,000 to have over $500,000 in your account. Could you see how if you were to do this, say, okay, at age 25, I'm going to put this much away. And then each month after that, I'm going to put an extra $500 towards this. And after that, maybe you get a little bit later in life. Okay, now I'm going to put an extra $1,000 a month towards this. And after that, you're going to say, I'll put an extra $1,500 a month towards this. And as you go through your working life from 25 to 65 as you're investing, I'm talking about just a cheap, quick way, or not a quick way, but a cheap way to look at how investing works. Right here would get you to $1 million by the time you are age 65. Relatively easy, because the one big factor is time is on your side. I heard this the other day, and I have no way to prove or disprove it, but it sounds legitimate. If you make $15,000 per year, you are doing better than 90% of the people on the planet. Think about that. 15,000, that's nothing. You're doing better than 90% of the planet. And then they moved it up. I said, if you get up to $25,000 a year, which still is nothing, you're doing better than 99% of the planet. And if you make over $50,000 a year, you're doing better than 99.5% of the planet. What are we complaining about? I mean, when you look at a global spectrum, why are we complaining about this? I don't know why. Is it expensive to live in the United States? Yes. Do we have the necessities we need to survive? Yes. Okay, we have great things. We have the freedom to do almost anything that we want, other than if we can't go harm somebody. You guys know as well as I, you can't go and type something up on an email and send somebody saying, hey, I'm going to burn your house down. You might get in trouble for it. But other than things that are going to create harm to others, we have pretty good free will. I don't know if you guys remember, you guys probably were in juniors and seniors, probably in 7th, 8th grade. There was this whole thing where people were protesting, going, it's not fair that the top 1% of America controls this percent of all the money of America. It's not fair. So I'm going to sit here on my iPhone, at times like the iPhone 3, and I'm going to tweet how much I hate this. Really? You're on a service plan that you're paying about $200 a month for? And you're complaining about what the richest people in America are making? You got kids in third world countries that their brother and sister might not make it through the rest of the day because of malnutrition, because of not clean water to drink. Huh. So if you make $25,000, by the time you're 25 and you can invest that, you could have over $500,000 towards the rest of your life. Take it. I will tell you I have a 100% probability of never winning the lottery. You guys want to know why? Because I don't play. I just guarantee I won't win the lottery. Save $1 or $2 every week, so don't play. What's that $1 or $2 worth? There's third world nations in Africa and Central America that $1 would mean something. Compound growth, easy to do? Absolutely. Worth doing? Not all of you are like my friend Brian Schiff, whose dad started Motorola. You know, it's kind of cool always going over to Brian Schiff's house. He lived in an area down in Phoenix that was similar to some of these homes over this portion of the neighborhood, which are beautiful homes. And I should have been an architect. I love homes. My wife thought for the first couple of years of us being married that I was unhappy with what I owned because I'd see a house for sale I didn't want to go to and check it out. You don't like what you have? No, I want to be an architect. I would love homes. And then some of these homes over here, I go to Dr. Baker's house. He's got a great house over here. Enjoy that. His daughter has a great house as well. Love seeing those homes. They're the large homes. But I love the large home, but I also love going, oh, if I was the architect, I wouldn't have the study over here and have it over here. And, that's just how it's not because I'm unhappy with what I have. I'm very happy with what I got. Make yourself a millionaire? Go for it. What makes you understand money? I'll tell you what made me understand money a hell of a lot more than my mom and dad. My senior year, right before that prom, Dad filed both corporate and personal bankruptcy. This really cool Chevy Blazer that I drove, that was one of Dad's company vehicles, but it was mine to use, my own, was towed away. The money that was put away for me to go to college was not protected. So I went to college, I was told flat out, you better get yourself a full-time job and you will go to school full-time. That's not a really good equation, because when you work full-time, you go to school full-time, you still want to have somewhat of a social life, even though you're working 40 hours a week and you're spending at least that much time, if not more, studying in class. It's not a good thing. But it made me realize, one, I got to protect what I own, I work hard for what I own, I want to be proud of what I own. That's how I go through life. The scary thing is now, is my parents are both retired. I'm pretty sure I have more money saved right now at 43 years, 11 months, 15 days than they do. Birthday's on December 30th. I expect cake.
That's what he was doing. He was trying to tell us the birthday.
Yeah, it is. I expect a surprise party. Y'all better be planning it. My dad owned a drapery, carpet, and wallpaper interior design company. They actually manufactured draperies, mini blinds, and verticals. And in the late 80s, the markets changed to where you could start buying that kind of stuff very easily through like Home Depot, JCPenney, Lowe's, and the small guys dried up real quick. So that's what happened. Yeah, he wound up selling cars. ours for the next 25 years. Yep, let me turn this up real quick. If